everyone! So in this video, I'm going to point out something that we may be missing, and that would be the strong similarities between the pro-life and anti-abortion movement and veganism, along with why the arguments for meat eating and abortion are essentially the same thing. And I'll touch on what these arguments are, and then I will talk about why there seems to be very little overlap between the pro-life and vegan movement and why these beliefs rarely seem to coincide. So it seems to me that abortion and meat eating are similar, mainly because it's those with power exploiting those who lack power and can't fight back for their lives. Society is so backwards in how we treat the weak. We should go out of our way to love, protect, and defend those weaker than ourselves. But instead, many people take advantage of this weakness and exploit that. Instead of giving more protection to the helpless, we give less protection to them. And we tend to disassociate that the animal on our plate was a living being who breathed the same air that we breathe, or that the aborted babies thrown in dumpsters were living human beings with an amazing purpose and the same right to life as us. So our true character is defined by how we treat those who can do nothing for us in return. If we only give compassion to those who can repay us and to those who can fight back when we do wrong to them, what kind of compassion is that? It's not compassion at all, but mere virtue signaling and a false form of niceness. I believe issues like abortion and killing animals is a great example of this. And honestly, the arguments used for both of these are essentially the same. One of the most common arguments for abortion is my body, my choice. And we see a parallel here to the argument that meat eaters make that it's my personal choice what I eat. But honestly, a true personal choice does not have a victim. We should use our choices to be compassionate and stand up for others, even if that means making a sacrifice on our part. We should use our free will to love others in heart and action. Being vegan and not having abortions does require a sacrifice. Being vegan requires you to give up eating animal products. And if you're like most people, those are foods that you grew up eating. You can still eat a veganized version of those foods, but you do have to give up eating real animal products. And if you do choose to eat fake meat or vegan cheese or stuff like that, it's likely going to cost you a few extra bucks. Also, you may have to deal with mockery from others who don't understand your choice. But I think that this sacrifice is nothing compared to the life of suffering that animals go through. If we had to be in their place, I think most of us would stop eating meat pretty quickly. And even the fact that they are killed, their innocent blood is shed, I think that should be enough in my opinion. And abortion is a pretty similar concept. I don't think mothers should abort their baby, but instead practice sacrificial love for their child. And okay, let me say one disclaimer. I don't want people here who have had abortions to feel I am judging them in any way, shape, or form. I don't know your situation. I don't know what you've been through, and I can't imagine going through a pregnancy in a time where it would be very, very difficult for you to go through with it for whatever reason. So I love you, I care about you, and I'm not out to judge you. I don't want anybody to watch this video and feel that way, because it's not in my heart to do that. And obviously we can't change what's already happened, but for future references, I think that mothers should choose life. After all, you're here because your mother made a sacrifice for you. She carried you in her womb and then birthed you, and assuming that you weren't put up for adoption, your mother fed you and cared for you. And our mothers made this amazing sacrifice for us, so I think that we should do the same for our children. Let me tell you, true love is sacrificial, not just what makes us feel good. True love lays its life down for others. Another argument where abortion and meat eating have a strong parallel would be the argument that a fetus is not sentient and that animals don't have the same level of awareness as humans. Mostly the same argument, just different scenario there. And I personally do believe that fetuses do have a soul and therefore are conscious. I think it's ultimately our soul that makes us conscious, and our brain just helps us to process certain things in the world, like the ability to see, the ability to taste, things like that, like the way that we learn. But I don't think our brain makes us conscious in itself. Because after all, consciousness is not a materialistic thing. It's a beautiful mystery if you think about it. If you really ponder this mystery of being conscious, it's something that's really tells you that there's got to be something more to life, you know? But even if you do fully believe that a fetus is not conscious, I would still argue that abortion would be wrong because it will become conscious in a matter of months. And for vegans out there, you wouldn't crack open a bird egg that has a developing baby bird inside just because you didn't think that it's conscious yet. So why kill an unborn human? And for the pro-meat eating argument that animals don't have the same level of awareness of humans, I think that doesn't justify killing them. Here's a quote that I like. I agree that animals don't have deep, complex thoughts the way that a human would, but if you abuse them, they still feel it. They still fear death and have some of the same needs and desires as us humans. The desire to have food, water, to be free from harm, to care for their young, and ultimately not be killed exists in all of us, whether animal or human. And these rights are relevant to animals. Someone once said to me, okay, then let's give cows the right to vote if you're going to argue for veganism. And I thought that's funny because it's actually the relevant rights that matter. Like the right to be free from harm is relevant to both humans and animals, but the right to vote would only be relevant to humans. So that's silly, honestly. And one quite immature overlap between abortion and meat-eating arguments goes like this. For every animal you don't eat, I'm going to eat 3, or I'll dedicate my next abortion to you. And these arguments honestly have no maturity and are hardly worth addressing. So I will just address them briefly and ask why someone opposing killing would offend you so much that you feel the need to act like this. Because even if you don't agree, you shouldn't be a jerk. And for pro-lifers and vegans who get this argument, I just say every time you make this argument, I'll donate to a pro-life organization in your name, or for every time you say this, I will donate to an animal sanctuary in your name, and then actually do it. That way you're countering this immature statement with a good deed. Okay. Pulling up another parallel between abortion and meat-eating arguments would be you're putting fetuses above human, which is parallel to you're putting animals above humans. But the problem is here, we don't have to choose one or the other. It's silly to assume in the case of abortion, we have to choose the fetus or its mother, or in the case of meat eating, we have to choose animals or humans. Newsflash, it's okay to care about all life. It really is. It's not either or. And you can choose to care about no lives, some lives, or all. So why not choose all? And pro-lifers are not putting fetuses above women, and vegans they shouldn't put animals above humans. Vegans aren't cannibals, and pro-lifers aren't killing people who have been born. So we need to care about all life, animal or human, young or old, and life is a precious gift. It is not disposable and never has been. A few days ago, I was actually reading this article on scientists who were cutting up chrysalises to learn about how the butterfly grows inside of that chrysalis. And I remember I was like disgusted, and I was thinking, well, life is not disposable. God even gave life to insects. And those chrysalises cut up were going to be a butterfly. Such an amazing miracle how a caterpillar can completely transform and be born again as something new, a beautiful, remarkable creature. To stop that process for the sake of study is just callous, an example of humans trying to play God. We could not even replicate that amazing process from caterpillar to butterfly if we tried. So what gives us the right to end it? And I was actually reminded of how I have been raising butterflies since I was 8 years old, 10 years now. And I never kill my caterpillars intentionally. Obviously, not all have survived, but I don't intentionally kill them. A quick story is one time, 2 years ago, I actually had one monarch butterfly whose wings were damaged, and he could not fly. So I just kept him, and I would take him outside and let him drink the nectar from flowers, and I would carry him from flower to flower. I'd even take him to the creek with me because there was a lot of flowers there, and I did everything I could to give him a happy life. And that is a great example of caring about life. That should be the norm, because life is not disposable. It is a gift, a remarkable gift, and that's why I believe we should be vegan and against abortion. But sadly, there seems to be very little overlap between these movements, meaning it's pretty rare to be both against abortion and against killing animals. And my theory of why this is the case is that people are coming to these movements with different mindsets. Pro-lifers are often Christian, Catholic, or conservative, and they believe that human life has value. But because God gave humans dominion over animals, animals' lives are okay to kill for food. The problem is, though, when the Bible says God gave us dominion over animals, there wasn't even meat eating. That is a fact. If you read the Bible thoroughly, you'll see that meat eating was a consequence of sin. So yes, you can eat meat, but why would you want to do something that's contrary to God's original plan and design? And honestly, I'm delighted to be Christian and vegan. I'm so happy to be, and I wouldn't have it any other way. And for the vegans who aren't against abortion, I think many of them come from like a liberal perspective, and most, not saying all, liberals do tend to be pro-choice. And then furthermore, I think the approach of many vegans is wrong because they come at it from the perspective that humans are a cancer to this earth and need to die out. And this reasoning is so flawed because humans' life has incredible worth and value. You see, the place of heart and mindset we have affects the decisions we make in life. If we come at it with the angry mindset that humans just need to die off, that the root of our veganism is coming from the wrong place. And I understand that it's so frustrating to see animals suffering, but we have to find proper healing for this hurt and anger we feel over it. Otherwise, that anger is going to come out in some way, and it won't be a pretty way. I can't stress enough the importance of our decisions coming from the right place of heart. Our heart is the root of all of our decisions we make in life. And I know it can be a struggle, though. Seeing humanity not care about animals and just being seen every day of your life as an extremist just for caring can be so disheartening. So I feel you there if that's your struggle, and what I do pray is that you can find love still to this shattered, broken humanity, because it is a very corrupt world, I'm not going to lie. And if you're a non-vegan pro-lifer, I do hope that you would just consider the lives of the animals abused and killed by the billions. I don't believe that it's our job to take a life, and I will continue to fight for both humans and animals. The way we justify abortion or killing animals really is essentially we make a case for their life not being valuable, and then we combine that with choice, hence my body, my choice, or my personal choice what we eat. And then that's how we make an argument for both, essentially. But I stand on the case that there is a strong, often unnoticed parallel between the pro-life and vegan movements, and I don't think we just should decide that some lives don't matter. We should fight for life and compassion for all. So yes, if you watched it through, thank you so much. I'm going to have more vegan videos and hopefully pro-life videos coming up. And the next video I do want to make this week is a video on true femininity. So yeah, stay tuned for that. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!